A new poll from CNN out this morning shows the president's approval rating has dropped 7 points in the last month. This is as protests continue and coronavirus has just gripped the nation.
CNN senior political writer and analyst Harry Enten joins us now. Harry, you've been following the numbers for some time. I suppose I'm most curious, is this a moment in time or is this part of a trend line for the president?
You know, I honestly think it's part of a trend. And, you know, let's take a look at the president's numbers right now. You know, his approval rating, as sort of has been mentioned, 38%. His disapproval rating, 57%. And that, to me, is a huge, huge number. And we have seen that across a number of polls where the president's approval rating has been dropping off. So it's not just this one. But take a look at the racial breakdown in the polls, which to me is so interesting. Look at this. Among whites, 45% approval. His disapproval rating, 52%. And we've seen this across a number of polls as well. It's not just minorities, but it's white voters who've been falling away from the president. And put this in a historical context, this is so important. Looking at all the presidents going back, what we see is the president's approval rating compared to all these folks. Look at those he's near, Carter and Bush. Those are two presidents who lost re-election, and the other one, Ford at 45, also lost re-election. So he's with the group that lost re-election, not the ones who were re-elected. Take a look at this matchup that we have. It's unbelievable to me. 55% of voters right now say that they would vote for Joe Biden. Only 41% say they vote for the president. And that 55% is so important because it means that Biden's over 50%. I went back, I looked at the polls back in 2016. From this point onward, Hillary Clinton never reached this level. She never got there. She never got above 50%. So this means, especially looking at the other polling, that the president will have to take back some of Biden's supporters if, in fact, he wants to win. And take a look here at the issues that are so important to voters, right? I think this is so key. Look at this. On race relations and the coronavirus, the two major issues of the day, Biden is better. More voters say Biden would better handle it than Trump. The economy, which Trump is trying to emphasize, you get why here with 51% saying they trust him over Biden, but I would also argue that, in fact, that would indicate that even if the economy got better, Trump already has the economy on his side. I'm not quite sure that the economy going better would necessarily help him. And one last thing that I'll sort of point out, just the trend line, you know, you were pointing out, Jim. Take a look here. Look at this. This is a top number for Biden, right? But in all of these polls, what do we see? We see Biden above 50%. That's such a key number. And in the average of polls, what we see is Biden also doing better. So this CNN poll, not an outlier.
A new poll now has President Trump losing the 2020 election by historic margins in a matchup with Vice President Biden. Trump is, of course, calling this fake news and has even threatened legal action against CNN for reporting it. Because nothing says winner or winning like suing people who say true things about you, even though they make you look bad. Now, Trump always says the polling is wrong, calls it all, bullshit or whatever. And so I decided to look back at his 2016 polling numbers against Hillary Clinton when they look like this. As you can see, Hillary was beating Trump in nearly every poll taken 6 months before Election Day, but her support rarely, if ever, creeped above 50%. The actual election results ended up being much closer, 47.3% for Trump and 47.8% for Clinton, as she did in fact win the popular vote but lost the Electoral College. What Hillary's campaign and the rest of the country didn't see at the time was that she was actually losing in several battleground states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, that traditionally vote blue but would flip to Trump. Now those same states are all polling very hard blue for Biden. But what Hillary's team really didn't see was that 2016 was a change election. Clinton's team and the Democratic Party were able to beat Bernie Sanders with a little bit of tricks, but they didn't learn anything from his campaign. He was a sign that voters wanted something different, that they were tired of the establishment. Now fast forward 4 years, and people are tired of something else. Chaos. Another recent poll that isn't getting a whole lot of attention found that 80% of Americans say the country was out of control. I mean, that's crazy. 80% of Americans don't agree on anything. And before conservatives call this poll bullshit, it's on foxnews.com. I mean, that's where you guys believe everything they say, right? Whether you like Trump or hate him, there's no denying that the last few years have been just crazy. We've seen the George Floyd protest, coronavirus lockdowns, impeachment, possible war with Iran, and that's just in the last 6 months. Now even traditionally strong red states like Georgia are in trouble. To quote current GOP Senator David Perdue, who told a group of supporters the state was, quote, in play. This election is going to be decided by average Americans who are just tired of fighting about politics. I mean, honestly, most Americans don't follow politics that closely. Most people don't even really vote. And, everyone has just been affected by the chaos of the Trump administration. People want to change from this
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
to this.
But I also know that the best way to bear loss and pain is to turn it into that anger and anguish into purpose.
Might not exactly be the change we all want, or even, the change we can all believe in, but it's currently better than the shit show we got going on now. Hey, thanks for watching Citizen Pete. Don't forget to subscribe.